Good morning. Dennis Akizuki, one of the administrative assistants at the Betzline. We'll begin this morning's service with Suture chanting Juice Day again, followed by Three Treasures. Among us, among us. Now let's read the three treasures, which if you have this book, it's on page 8. Please tell me, Pastor. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken ourselves to supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of the Buddha and be free from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony and the spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard it is to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Again, good morning. Dennis Akizuki, one of the 3 ministers' assistants at the Bethlem. I've been here before, but last time I forgot to introduce myself. I might have mentioned this when I was previously here, but I actually have a connection to Morgan Hill. From 1979 to 1981, I was a reporter at the Morgan Hill Times in San Martin. That was a long time ago, but I have a lot of fond memories here. This community, a lot has changed. There wasn't anything out here, no fields, none of the shopping centers were around. It was a lot different back then, but I had a good time working here, and like I say, I always had a fondness for this community. So I was thinking about what should I talk about? The big thing in our lives is still COVID, right? We're still living with it. We've been coping with it the best we can for the last 2 years, but it's been hard, hasn't it? I mean, I was thinking about what I could say about living with the pandemic. And so, as I often do, I kind of look on the internet to see what else other people have talked about, kind of give me some inspiration. I can quote from them and talk about what they have to say. But a lot of it has been, was published like right after the pandemic started, or a year ago, first anniversary. I wanted to get something more current. So I did some Google searches, and I tried to find something that was written recently. And lo and behold, I could find something new. It was an article written just last month, and I really liked it. I found it on just doing a Google search, and it came up, and I liked it so much that I recommended it to John Kawamoto, who's the editor of the Wheel of Dharma, and said, John, you should consider reprinting this in the newsletter. And that's what he's looking into. The title of this article is Keeping Faith in Troubled Times. It was published on January 27th, like I said, in the Daily California, the student newspaper at UC Berkeley. By the way, I wrote for the Daily California when I went to school there. The author is a student and Shin Buddhist named Saya Abney. Saya, S-A-Y-A, Abney, A-B-N-E-Y. And if one could tell, looking, I kind of Googled her and then see if there's anything about her. And the best I could tell is she's from Atlanta, Georgia. But she mentions in this article or this column that she's been attending services at the Berkeley Buddhist Temple, probably all remotely. So her article, she starts off with something Shin Buddhists like us are familiar with. She says, quote, one of the core tenets of Buddhism that temple sermons have focused on recently is impermanence. The messages have felt particularly timely. Change, loss, and death have often seemed like the only constants during the unprecedented challenges the world has been facing for the last few years. And Saya goes on to talk about one of her challenges that she's really struggled with and she's had a hard time with. She recently suffered a big loss in her life. The last day before the winter break, her grandfather passed away. This is someone she called her rock, somebody who was a steadying presence in her life, someone who always had a smile and a funny story to tell her. He passed away. This is not due to COVID. He'd been declining for a while, but it's something that still really shocked her, stunned her. The primary lesson she draws from the death of her grandfather is that we are never alone. That's the lesson she learned from Dharmakaya, from Shin Buddhism. She says, quote, Amida Buddha's compassion is extended towards all of us in our times of joy, in our times of sadness, and all of the times in between. There is a chain of compassion linking all of us together, whether we realize it or not, with links built from the care we receive from family, friends, and our communities, or simply from strangers who have us in their thoughts. When we are happy, others are happy. When we are sad, others are sad. We have all caused problems for others before, just as others have caused problems for us. And we have all helped others before, just as others have helped us. It is easy to feel lost and adrift during these difficult times. The world is changing rapidly, and personal sources of stability that many of us depend on have taken hits. My faith helped ground me when my grandfather's death caused me to fall apart. Listening to and reading the teachings of Jodo Shinshu ministers has helped remind me to focus on the now, cherish the loved ones I still have, and value the love and lessons I have received from those who are no longer with us. Now, Saya is a convert, I think. Her grandfather, she mentions, was a devout Christian, and she talks about going to services at the Methodist Church with her grandfather. And she says that his religion gave him great comfort as his health declined. She says, quote, just as his faith eased his passing, my faith has helped my healing from his loss. She also reflected on the Dharma as she's coped with this loss of her grandfather. She says, quote, I have found a new appreciation that the core tenet of Jodo Shinshu is that Amida Buddha loves all beings and embraces all of us with infinite compassion. While Amida Buddha gave us his vow that all beings will reach his Pure Land after death, he reminds us as well that we are never alone in our suffering during our lives. With how rapidly changes have occurred over the last few years, we all need to remember to give ourselves some grace to recover. My religious faith has helped me keep my faith in myself, in humanity, and in our shared future during the pandemic and all of the challenges it has brought with it. Keeping faith during troubled times can be difficult. I was lucky to stumble onto a religion that complements my values and brings out my faith at a time I needed it. Cultivating faith, be it religion, humanity, or something else entirely, can sustain us at our lowest and help support us when we need it most. With the new year comes hope of last year's troubled faith, but too often 1 year slips into the next seamlessly, appearing to be just more the same. And optimism gives way to fatigue. Even in the darkest of times, though, faith can be a reminder that we are not alone, that even at our lowest, we can still extend compassion to others, and that we are loved. So that's how she ended her column. And all I have to say is, wow, she's probably 21, 22 years old. I think a convert, and she's learned so much about Shin Buddhism, and she really applies it to her life. And I think that's a really great thing. I think And that should remind us, people who've grown up, as Shin Buddhists, that there is this optimism, and there is this, even in the worst time, we're not alone. And her insight into the Shin Buddhist perspective is really amazing. And equally impressive is how she can so eloquently and write about it in terms that are easily understandable, and really kind of conveys the message of the teachings in her writing. Yes, these times are difficult. It's not just the fear and loneliness caused by COVID, but the senseless and horrific violence against Asians. And now we have senseless and horrific conflict in Ukraine. It's all around us. You throw in the rising price of just about everything, and the fact that things haven't fully opened up, and that life can seem overwhelming, depressing, and dangerous. But as Saya says, Amita's infinite compassion is always with us. And that compassion also calls us to live a life of gratitude. And if we live a life of gratitude, I think that can't do anything but give us hope, that gives us a good feeling. Because you can't really feel grateful about something and be negative, right? Gratitude is such a positive emotion, positive trait. So let's, that compassion, Amita's compassion, calls us to live that life of gratitude. We shouldn't dwell on what we're missing or what we don't have or the bad news. I mean, we all think about that, but don't become so caught up in that. Focus on the many things we have that we should be grateful for. Those are things small and large. They're everywhere. We sometimes forget to appreciate them. Let's continue to reach out to the members of our Sangha and also the larger community. And as Saya says, let's love those who are still with us, support each other, and be there for one another. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Vedas. Namo Vedas. Namo Vedas. So thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity to come here, because if it hadn't been this opportunity to come here, I wouldn't have looked around and found that article. It's a really tremendous article, I think. And for somebody so young to be able to really express, Amita's compassion and teach us lessons about how we should be living in this time of COVID and of violence and other things in our lives, I think is very impressive. And I think it just reminds us that, the teachings can help us in our everyday lives. And we should be there for each other. And being part of the Sangha is an important part of being a Shin Buddhist. And we have been able to experience that, right? I mean, I've come here when there was in-person services, and the people gather for refreshments afterwards. I mean, that's a thing. I mean, you probably take for granted, but something that I think probably all of you miss, coming here and seeing your friends, having a snack, just chatting what's going on in your lives and that kind of thing. So I think we have to make more of an effort to keep, you're probably doing that already, just to keep in contact with people, to reach out, to be kind, and to just enjoy a Zoom call or a FaceTime, or even just a regular telephone call to people that you care about. And we'll get through this. Impermanence, things change. This won't be around forever. It might be here in a different form, but we'll get through it. And I'll be here again someday and talking to you, hopefully in person. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk to you. And have a good rest of the weekend.